41st till I die, motherfuckers. I'm still breathing you with mud, so we full bread. You ain't my dog trying to infiltrate the clique issue. I get with you, into that on a later though. We overdose every day, the devil so close. I'm trying to tell these cats, but I let them do their thing. Ready for the bad news till the phone ring. Son is dead now, anyway, over my head. Seek your revenge, son, Ben, son. You been half trying to laugh out the drill gun. The seal guns play the hum, for real sons. For you motherfucking hoes.
Hello everyone. Let me see if I got everything working properly. Okay. I see sound is on. Let's also share the screen as well. Let's see. So I have my trading view here. I have my Chrome browser. So give me just 1 second to finish setting this up. Add. Why is trading view not here? Okay, doesn't matter, but add window capture. Is it window capture? Let's see. My streaming software made like a new update, so I need to get adjusted to the new update. Okay, so now you should see everything. So this is the Edge Finder. Here is my trading view. Right there. Let's close down the Discord so that it doesn't bother me. And close down Notion. Okay, let's see. Yeah, everything should be set up properly now. So, hello everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. Hope your trading is going well. So, it's August 14th. And it is the summer. I am now in the capital of Croatia. So, I'm sweating my balls off, if I'm being honest. It's super hot here. Wishing I was on the seaside, but oh well. We all need to work. So, the big news today is on the dollar. I forgot something. I forgot to open the chat. Let's see. Where's my chat? Where's my chat? Hey, Omar. How's it going? Just subscribe today after next live. Nice, awesome. Thank you very much for subscribing to my channel. If you have any questions for me or any chart requests you want me to go over, definitely put it in the chat. So the thing I wanted to mention, I'm gonna repeat some stuff from the live stream I did on Trader Nick's channel today. Basically, we had PPI print. So this is the print for inflation. Now, why is this important? So I'm just gonna talk macro for like 5 minutes. We have the Fed. We have the Fed, and everyone is wondering, will they cut interest rates? A little bit of a backstory as well. If I hide my trading view, open up my browser, go to the Fed interest rate. These are a couple of websites that I like to follow. So this shows you the interest rate in the last 10 years. You can see there was a massive hike because of COVID. COVID introduced a lot of inflation with the massive spending. Then there was a pause, and now they started to cut. But then they noticed, look, the jobs market is kind of stable, but actual inflation is being a bit sticky. So they were worried about inflation. And also one thing you need to know about the Forex market, it's all about the interest rate differentials. Okay, it's all about the interest rate differentials. So currencies move according to their interest rates. If you're looking at the euro dollar, it's gonna move the euro interest rate compared to the dollar interest rate. Is one of them going up? Is the other going down? That's how the price is moving as well. So the price usually follows the interest rate. Red Rose says, market is well too complacent on assuming Fed will start cutting rates. One cut in September and that is all, I think. Okay, that's an interesting view. Well, I'm gonna tell you what's expected right now. I'm gonna tell you what is priced in. We were pricing 3 cuts yesterday with hot CPI and pretty solid jobs market. That is correct. That is too many cuts. Right now we have, so this is another website I like to see, a Fed Watch tool. And I mean, if you're trading Forex, if you're trading fundamentals, you gotta know this. I mean, you gotta learn about this. You gotta follow this. You have to know about the interest rates. You have to know what the Fed is doing. It just controls the market. So for the 17th of September, 90% of a cut. October, 96.2%. December, 99.2%. That there will be some sort of a rate cut, and I think even 2 rate cuts are priced in for 2025. Okay, so for this year. So that's what's priced in. Now the trouble with this week is if you want to cut rates, you don't want inflation to be high, you know, because when you cut interest rates, the inflation is gonna go even higher. So the target that the Fed wants to see is 2%. Fed targets a 2% inflation rate every single year. So that means the bread that you buy, the apples that you buy, the meat that you buy, the gasoline that you pour in should be, in the perfect world, 2% more expensive every single year. Well, the problem is some years it actually gets to 8%. Some years it gets to maybe only 0.25% if there is very little growth. So inflation is a big issue. That is why people are watching for the inflation data, because if inflation keeps going higher, the Fed won't really have a solid case to cut rates. So we were waiting for CPI. That's our first measure of inflation. It came in mixed. So this was on Tuesday at 14:30 my specific time. And you can see core inflation 3.1 compared to 3. But the overall inflation was 2.7 compared to the forecast 2.8. So mixed result. Now PPI is the actual number came in much higher than the forecast. So that's a bit of a shocker. That's definitely a bit of a shocker. So James T, what setup did you take? Yep, I'm going to show you my trades in a second. So if I go to the Forex factory calendar right here, and you can learn everything you need about the fundamentals in the Forex Factory calendar. So if we go to PPI, you can see what does it measure? Change in the price of finished goods and services sold by producers. Actual greater than the forecast is good for currency, because it means if inflation is going higher, Fed is going to have to raise interest rates, which makes the underlying currency usually gain value. Why traders care? It's a leading indicator of consumer inflation. When producers charge more for goods and services, the higher costs are usually passed on to the consumer. Okay, so that's why this is very important, and looks like it is going higher, and by quite a big margin. You know, this is quite a big result, quite a push to the upside, or let's say push, quite a higher number than the forecast. So inflation is still a bit sticky, and that produces a question. Well, does the Fed have a case to cut rates? Should they even cut rates at all? That's the question. My thinking is yes, they're gonna cut rates. It's there's pretty much a guarantee they're gonna cut at least once in 2025. For now, there's sort of a guarantee. So I do think the DXY is going to continue going lower. Okay. I do think the dollar will get the cuts, and I do think the dollar should overall continue on this path to go lower, to depreciate, right? So that is still my basis. We had a really bad NFP. Last NFP was really bad, so I'm watching for the next NFP. If we get very bad jobs data in the next NFP, we could definitely see a cut. So James, these are the setups I'm in. I'm in euro dollar. I'm in euro GBP. Both of them are underwater, unfortunately. So both of them are in drawdown right now. And yeah, I basically bought euro dollar today. Let me give you a breakdown of why I took these specific trades. So euro dollar I took because Europe's economy is doing pretty well. Europe is beating expectations. The dollar, I'm expecting rate cuts. I'm expecting that the Fed will do 2 rate cuts in 2025. That would be bearish. Also, if you look at the edge finder, which is the main thing I look at for fundamentals, euro dollar, it had a bullish reading. Now it went back to neutral, but it did have a bullish reading when I took the trade. And also technical analysis on the daily chart. I mean, this is definitely in a clear uptrend. You know, you have a couple of trend lines you can paint here. Here you can put a trend line like this. You can put a trend line on these levels, which we kind of broke below. Okay, so I would say that this is still in a pretty nice, pretty powerful uptrend, and I'm looking for, I mean, that's why I took a buy setup. I did take it as a break and retest on the 1 hour chart. So when the price pushed up here, I was waiting for the price to retest this buy limit right there on the inside bar, and then I got taken in. I used quite a big stop loss. I think it was 115 pips. Placed my stop loss underneath the swing low. Okay, so that is what I did for this particular trade. So James didn't see any clear setups. That's all. Right now, I don't see any like super clear cut setups either. These are all small risk trades. So euro dollar, euro GBP. I don't have a lot of risk on the table. Like this euro GBP is a 0.5% position. Euro dollar is 0.25%. So basically very, very small positions because my confidence is not that high. Okay. My confidence is not that high, so I'm risking a bit less. Red Rose says, how have your results been so far with the fundamental strategy? I'm up a few percent. I was up like 5% at the highest point in equity, or I think even 6%. But then I did take on some losses. So some of the great trades I took were on gold. So these two winners, those were really nice. And off the top of my head, NZDJPY gave me a nice setup right there. But I did take on some losses. So I took some losses on the DAX. Right here, I took 2 losses on the DAX. I took a loss on Bitcoin. Right there, I took a loss on gold. So yeah, right now I'm up, I would have to check, but maybe like 2%, maybe 2.5% on my personal account, according just for the fundamental strategy. And I started to trade this strategy in, I think it was March, beginning of March. So that's when I started to trade this new strategy. So yeah, not the best performance. It has been pretty tough, but I think the edge is there. My stats from backtesting and for this live trading combined, let's say, is 45% win rate and 1.8 to 1 reward to risk. So these are the statistics for this strategy. Now that's pretty healthy. That's also good for trading prop firms. So that's why I like the strategy. So Omer says waiting for a pullback on GBP Aussie and Euro Aussie for a buy. Okay, waiting for a pullback. I'm going to check out GBP Aussie and Euro Aussie. Let's see, Red Rose, that's decent returns. How long have you been trading it? Yeah, as I mentioned, so I've been trading this strategy, I believe, from beginning of March this year. Hard to backtest when using fundamentals? Absolutely, because a key factor for taking trades is also the macroeconomic environment. So the reason why I took the gold buy trades, these two, was because Trump was going crazy with the tariffs. We were in a massive risk-off environment, and gold loves uncertainty. Gold loves a risk-off environment. So I was very, very happy. I was very, very happy to look for buy setups on gold. And that's hard to backtest. It's hard to backtest what Trump was doing 6 months ago. But just in terms of raw data, if you have the edge finder, if you don't have the edge finder and you want to buy it, you can use my code MARKO and you're going to get, I think, a 15% discount. So I highly recommend you check out the edge finder. Here you actually have the history. And you can see I did some backtesting with this. So you can see for gold, for example, this is the last 1 month of price action. But we can even put, let's say 25, we can put from February this year, for example. And this is the score history. So when you're backtesting, you can look at technical analysis and you can look at the edge finder. You can see how the score, was it bullish, was it bearish, at which points was it bullish, at which points was it neutral, at which points was it bearish, and you can try to backtest your strategy that way. Again, I did it on a couple of instruments. It worked out pretty well, but the best way to test this strategy is going to be through forward testing. Okay, so forward testing is going to give you the most accurate, the best results. Jay said, hi Marco, hope you're well. Hello, thank you very much for joining. I'm doing pretty well. Hope you are good as well. So I can see quite a lot of viewers compared to my regular live stream performance. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. And if you have any questions, strategy, psychology, risk management, chart requests, put it in the chat and I will go through it. So I'm going to go through Euro GBP and then we will do, where's that comment? GBP Aussie and Euro Aussie. Okay, yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So Euro GBP for this one, took it on Monday. Okay, took it on Monday in some big drawdown, pretty close to the stop loss. Unfortunately, When I took this position, it looked pretty good. So Europe economy doing pretty well, beating the forecast, beating expectations. GBP was not doing so well. It was there was a threat of a possible stagflation scenario. And stagflation is when you get bad growth numbers and you get high inflation, you get sticky inflation. That is something that was a serious threat, and I would say it still is, for the UK. It was mentioned by the central bank. You had a central bank meeting, CBOE interest rate decision on the 7th of August, and that is exactly what they mentioned in the meeting. They're worried about inflation, but they're also worried about growth. That's a stagflation scenario. And the stagflation scenario is bearish for the GBP. So, unfortunately, after that, well, maybe fortunately if you're living in the UK, but unfortunately for my trade, you got some better than expected unemployment and you got much better than expected GDP numbers, especially the year on year. Yeah, I would say, yeah, better than the year on year and especially month on month. So 0.4, forecast was only 0.1, previous number was negative. So if the GDP is growing, well, that's not really a case of stagflation, you know. If GDP is growing, that means the economy is expanding. So that's my position. I think technically this is good, or this is still okay. Fundamentals, they were looking very good, now not so much. Am I gonna prematurely close the position? No, I'm gonna let it run. I'm gonna let it hit the stop loss if it wants to. And it can of course still go to the upside, but I'm not very confident if I'm being honest. One of those part of probabilities, what I have to remember is my win rate is around 45%. That means I lose more times than I win. If I take 100 trades, I'm gonna win 45 trades and I'm gonna lose 55. So I know when I take every single trade, I know there's actually a higher chance that that trade will be a loss than it being a winner. So that's just how it goes. Jason says 1 week of calibration to go before Darwin is listed. Wish me luck. Awesome, nice. Congrats. If you want to jump on the live stream, once your calibration is done, you can jump on the stream. You can give me your ticker and we can go through it here on the stream. I can tell you my feedback on your performance. So my personal Darwin ticker is OHGE. Okay. OHGE. That's my personal ticker, so you can check it out if you want on Darwin X0. And yeah, definitely good luck with that. James, how have the results been for the technical strategy this year? They have been negative. So for the technical strategy, I think I'm negative. Let me see. Sorry, quickly, just gonna jump in my trade journal. Live trades, strategy, technical. Let's see. Let's see here. Yeah, unfortunately, I think I'm down with this. By this calculation, I'm down like 2%. Yeah, I think I'm down 1.5 to 2% as far as the technical strategy goes. I didn't get many setups. I missed the 2 big trades that Griff actually took, and Griff made some nice percentage. So yeah, technical strategy has not been performing so great. That is one of the main reasons why I switched to this fundamental strategy and why I'm gonna now introduce it to Zentum traders, because I do believe the edge with the fundamental strategy is a bit more efficient and it's gonna be a bit more stable throughout the years, and also the win rate is better. So with the technical strategy, your win rate could be 25, maybe 30%, but with the fundamental strategy, it should be around 45% win rate, which is much easier for your psychology and much better for your prop firm capital. So we had GBP Aussie. Let's look at that, GBP UD. Okay. So GBP Aussie. Let me take a look at the fundamentals. James says, yeah, I understand. No worries, James. How has your performance been? So if you want to put it in the comments how you have been doing, I'm interested to hear because it's been pretty tough. It's been pretty tough. Let's see, GBP Aussie, UD, USD JPY, sure. GBP Aussie bullish. Okay, we're getting a bullish reading right there. Interesting. I would say it's still flat and range bound GBP Aussie. You know, maybe a good play was to buy these lows because you're getting a flat range, right? You're getting a flat range right here. So maybe what you can do is you can buy these lows and sell the highs. If I'm gonna be looking for a trend following entry, I would not really be interested in this price action. I don't think it looks good enough. I don't think it looks good enough to take a trend following entry. It just looks so flat on the daily chart. Fundamentals are okay. So fundamentals, as I checked on the Edge Finder, are bullish, but the technicals need to line up with the fundamentals. So the three pieces of the puzzle is first fundamentals, second macro, third would be technicals, right? So those are the three pieces of the puzzle, and inside of the fundamentals you have interest rates, central banks, blah blah blah. So technicals are not looking so great. That's why I would be patient on GBP Aussie. But I would like the idea if you managed to get in on the bottom here, let's say you bought on this candle, aiming for the highs, that's not a bad trade idea. I think that could work like this. Let's say a bit of a bigger stop. You know, let's put a bigger stop loss, aiming for the highs, nice reward to risk, positive reward to risk. As long as it's above 1, I would say it's pretty good. And you mentioned Euro Aussie. Let's see, Euro Aussie. Euro Aussie looks flat. Euro Aussie looks flat, very range bound in my opinion on the daily chart. Let's check the Edge Finder. Euro Aussie. Let's see. Whoop. Neutral. So neutral reading right there. I'm neutral as well. I'm flat. I wouldn't be looking for any trending entries there. It's just flat in terms of the 20 EMA as well. We had a bit of an uptrend. Nothing really came out of that. So not my favorite, not my favorite. I actually think GBP Aussie looks better if you managed to buy the lows and are gonna sell at the highs, right? So a little bit of a range bound position. I think that would have been nice. Okay, let's check the comments. USD yen, ChatGPT recommended it long. Okay, that's pretty funny. But let me first see. James, has Griff been up this year with the technical strategy? I think he has. Yes, I think he took 2 setups on the JPY pairs, and he should be up a couple of percent. So definitely send him a message on Discord if you want to know how well he is doing. But he caught a really nice winner on NZD JPY that went running, I think, like 10, maybe even 15%. It was pretty crazy. Okay, James says, I still have my prop firm accounts in phase 2, but a slow year overall and been busy with work, so took some time off. Yeah, I mean, that's understandable. Technical strategy, just, yeah, it's been pretty slow. It's been pretty slow. It's been a bit of a pause. So it definitely pushed me to look at some different things. It pushed me to, I looked at, let's say, scalping news events. Turns out I would have to pay $25,000 for a Bloomberg terminal to get instant news, which is not the best for me right now. I don't even have 25K in my personal trading account, so it wouldn't make sense. So that wouldn't make sense. But swing trading fundamentals, that is free. So that made a lot more sense. Also in terms of freedom of time, again, I'm doing social media, I'm doing some promotions, I'm doing some other stuff. So I kind of have a full-time job alongside of trading, or maybe a part-time job alongside trading. So a swing strategy with fundamentals was the best answer for me. Jason says, could I please get the Discord invite link if possible? Yeah, sure, absolutely. So I don't have the invite link here with me, but if you can just go to our website. Let's see. So Zentum Trading, free Discord. If you can just click this link, fill out the info, and you're gonna get the invite link. Okay, you're gonna get the invite link. Also, for anyone else, if you want to join for free, you can do so right here. USDN, USDJPY. Okay, looks a bit flat, looks a bit corrective. Edge Finder, USDJPY. Let's see. Very bearish. Okay, that's interesting. Very bearish reading. Why? PMIs, CPI, PPI, interest rates. Okay, that's interesting. Well, for me personally, if I had to pick a direction, I would go short, because I'm short on the US dollar because of the interest rates, okay? So because I do expect there will be some interest rate cuts. Yeah, because I do expect there will be some interest rate cuts in September, I would actually go short on USDJPY. In terms of technical analysis, it's looking flat. So I can't really justify getting short right here. I would prefer to see a downtrend, some sort of a downtrend on the daily, like we had right here, for example. This would have been a nice short. Right now it's flat. So that means I'm being more patient. I do like the very bearish fundamental reading. I did see you mentioned ChatGPT. Now, I did a series on YouTube, or like the first part, where I tried trading with ChatGPT. If you want to know the performance, so I have continued testing ChatGPT. Currently, let me open it up. I have a trade journal. So ChatGPT trade journal, it's up 18.27%. And the experiment started on the 4th of June. I also tested Grok, which is like the artificial intelligence from Twitter, and from July 8th, the result is minus 8.12%. So I stopped testing that. I tested it for 1 month. ChatGPT is up 18%. Grok is down 8%. So maybe you can use ChatGPT as an extra confluence to take a trade. One thing I noticed though, ChatGPT does not get accurate price data. So you have to give it price data with every prompt, and it sometimes gets the fundamentals completely wrong. So it thinks that CPI happened today, but it actually happened on Tuesday. So it has some very unreliable data, okay, which I don't really like. For some reason, it's making a lot of money. So for some reason, like, let me show you some trades. ChatGPT trades, S&P, like these are all winners. See, just win, 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 loss, win, win, loss, 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 win. And then this is the current one that's running on the S&P 500. Again, it's taking trades on some currency pairs as well. Euro Aussie just hit the stop loss. Okay, so it took a loss. So I mean, the performance is amazing. I just I can't rely on an AI software that gets unreliable information, like unreliable data. So I'm just worried that for 6 months it's gonna work, and then there's gonna be massive drawdown. So then there's gonna be massive drawdown, and I'm gonna be screwed. That's why I don't trust ChatGPT. Even though the performance is amazing, that is why I would prefer to do my own trading. Okay, so James says, would you mind checking out a MyFX book I found to see if you think it's legit? It's automated EA trading. It seems legit to me, and the trader has a great reputation. Yeah, absolutely. If you can post it here, if you can post the link here in the chat, I can open it and we can take a look. So let me see if I missed anything. Red Rose says, what are your thoughts on the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ? Okay, sure. We will take a look at those. Jason says, cool, thanks for that, we'll join. Okay, nice, thank you very much for joining. And if you have any questions, you can find my profile on the Discord. Just be careful of scammers. I'll never message you first unless I need the money. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I'll never message you first. If you want to message me, you can see my profile in the Discord. NBF says, same, I'm having a good experience with ChatGPT. Awesome, okay, but keep testing it. Again, I've been testing it for I think 2.5 months now. I'll keep testing it for the full 3 months and then I'll do a video. Currently my stance is yes, the performance is amazing, 18%, but it has such unreliable data sources and it gets the data very, very late. So I cannot put my money behind that. NBF says, I think he has like some kind of insider information that he finds in the depths of the internet. Well, if you want to know what kind of information ChatGPT is getting, you can just ask ChatGPT, like, give me the sources for your recent trade decision. That's what I did a couple of times. So just give me sources. Give me sources for your trade decision. You're gonna see it's just going through a bunch of websites. So it's not insider information. Okay. James says, I was considering using it as it can work alongside a job and it's like 100% automated or semi-automated EAs. Okay, nice. Well, you can put the link and I can check it out. One thing though, I've never used an EA, so I don't have any experience with EAs. I don't know of any EAs that have a track record of more than a few months. And that's an issue because an EA can be profitable maybe for even a full year, maybe for 12 months, and then it stops working. So I've never seen a MyFX book that's more than a couple of months for a specific EA. If it's semi-automated, then maybe if there's some human intervention, maybe someone knows how to turn it off and on or when to turn it on and off, then that's a different thing. I know a lot of hedge funds actually use EAs or like super professional EAs, but they know how and when to turn them on and off. So yeah, I'm really interested to see the MyFX book. Definitely put the link here in the description, or you can send me on Discord in my DMs. Let's see. If it was as easy as using ChatGPT or renting someone's EA, then no one would be working a job. You're better off spending the time and money developing your own strategy, but that's just my opinion. It all comes down to what you prefer. I can just tell you my personal experience that I've never used an EA, and I can tell you that I've never seen confirmed performance of an EA of more than a few months. So most of them, from my knowledge, they work for 6 months, 7 months, maybe even 12 months, and then they go bust. There is a guy on the internet testing EAs, I think Petko Alexandrov. So on YouTube, Petko Alexandrov. Yeah, so I've never seen his EA or the EAs he tests to work more than let's say a year, 2 years. 3 years would be crazy. Did I see the link? No, it got deleted for some reason. So if you can send me the link to my Discord. I think YouTube automatically deletes some links for deletes links for some reason in the chat. So if you can just send it in my DMs on Discord, and then I'll open it up. So S&P and the NASDAQ. S&P and the NASDAQ. I'm bullish Okay, I've received the message. So I'll take a look after the S&P and the NASDAQ. My pick is the NASDAQ because artificial intelligence should increase the profit margins heavily for technology companies. NASDAQ is comprised mostly of technology companies. So Nvidia, Apple, Amazon, Tesla, Microsoft, all of those companies are using AI to lay off workforce. I know it's kind of fucked up, but it's the reality. Increasing their profit margins. There was like a news report that Microsoft laid off 5% of their workforce. Those guys got replaced by AI. So where does the money go? It goes into their stock market. That's why the NASDAQ should go up heavily in 24 and 25. Or sorry, in 25 and 26. I think this is going to be the most powerful indice. Or the most powerful index. It's super bullish. I'm definitely looking for buy setups. I have it here on my watch list, so I'm heavily considering it. I'm heavily considering it for buy setups, but I need a pullback. So I'm a little bit afraid of buying the highs. I would have to have a pretty big stop loss. It looks a bit overextended. Everyone is bullish, and one thing I've learned from closely watching crypto cycles is when everyone is bullish, when everyone is buying, when there is zero negative news, when there's massive euphoria, it's probably the time to be patient. You know, probably a sell-off is incoming. We did have a sell-off here. It was not as big as I wanted. So I would like to see a 5%, even more, like a 10% correction, maybe like 6% to 10% correction. Okay. So that would work better. That would work better in my opinion, if I got in a bit lower. For example, let's say this level of support. So if I get in here like this, I think that would be a nice trade opportunity. If I get taken out, no worries. I'll grab a second attempt a bit lower and I'll try to get in again. So that's the way that this strategy works. Best not to put full risk on the first position, because your first position is often going to be wrong. So best to leave some room for the second position and maybe even the third entry as well. So if you're going to risk a total of 1%, you can take first 0.3, 0.3, 0.3. So you can have 3 trades. And then if your third trade works, you make like a 3-to-1, 4-to-1, 5-to-1. So you pay off the losses and then some. Okay. That's for the NASDAQ. Same thing for the S&P. That's my general stance on the indices. Okay. It's on the watch list. I'm just not getting a pullback. This thing is just not selling off. So let's check out the link that James sent. Let's see. So apparently it's a 2-year track record. Okay, cool. Let's copy the link. Minimize this. Open this. Paste. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Okay, let's see. So there's this first one and then the second one. So the first one started from February 24, running up to August 13th. Okay. And this is quite an awesome performance. The drawdown 30%, I think that's great for this for this sort of a gain. Is this okay? So this is the first one. Yeah. So definitely, if you look at the return to drawdown, if you look at the gain, you're looking at the gain, not the absolute gain, because the absolute gain depends on deposits and withdrawals. So the gain is what you want to look at on my FX book. IC Markets Broker, that's a great sign. Still on IC Markets, but MetaTrader 5. Okay, so they switched from 4 to 5. Okay, that's cool. Drawdowns, this was a big one. Here, very little drawdown. Average percentage per year, well, we can calculate it. It would be pretty high. It would be like 150% per year. Win rate, 67%. Average win. Okay, so the average loss is a bit bigger than the win. Let's see here. Lower win rate, but the average win is much bigger than the average loss. So it looks like they changed the parameters a little bit. Okay, let's see the percentage in terms of the months. 24, only one negative month. Okay, here there's one negative month. That's about it for 25. Well, I mean, it looks a little bit, I don't know how to put it, but basically there's a pretty big track record in there. So I'm gonna admit that it's like a year and a half, maybe even 2 years. That's good. That's positive. It's on IC Markets, which is a verified broker. So that's very tough to fake. That's another positive. So looks like it is performing as advertised. One thing though, if an EA existed that made 100% per year every single year, or even 150% per year every year with only 30% max drawdown, it probably wouldn't be selling online. You know, you probably wouldn't see it sell online, because what you have to know, the best trader in the world, which is Jim Simmons, okay, that's the best trader in the world. He made an average of 60% per year in 30 years. So he and his fund traded for 30 years. They made an average of 60% return per year. And he had like the deepest kept system, the deepest secrets that you can ever find. Like, he kept his stuff extremely hidden. It would be crazy for him to sell his method, his analysis, his, let's say, trading bots, because he did use trading bots. It would be crazy for him to sell it online. So that's why I'm skeptical. I think you could see this strategy work for a few more months and then explode with some massive drawdowns, and that's where you run into some issues. It's pretty similar to the technical strategy. Hey Ender, what's up? Pretty similar to the technical strategy, where 21 was awesome, 22 was awesome, you had 150% returns per year, 23 a little bit less, 24 pretty bad, 25 pretty slow, pretty bad. So it worked for 2-3 years, and now it started to work not so great. Now you're getting in some big drawdowns. So I'm just worried that it's a big lucky streak. Again, up to you, but that's just my experience from all the books that I've read, from all the people that I've listened to. And if the top guy in the world cannot make more than 60% in 30 years per year on average, then an EA probably won't be able to beat him on a huge sample size of, let's say, 10 years. Okay, let's see the stream. Let me just check this. So, if you guys have any questions, if you, James, have any more questions as well, make sure to put them in the chat. Final verdict, I wouldn't use it as extra income. I would much rather park my money into S&P 500, which makes around 8 to 10% per year, into Bitcoin, which makes much more, into maybe Ethereum. You know, Ethereum has been absolutely crazy. So my colleague Griff, he actually bought 1 or 2 Ethereum here on the bottom. So he got in right on the bottom here. And this is like now a 200% appreciation. So yeah, 200% appreciation. Again, he did have some Ethereum from back during this choppiness, so his average price is higher, but it's pretty funny that he got in right on the bottom. And crypto has been doing great. I mean, I was watching for Bitcoin, if I'm being honest. I wanted to put Bitcoin on my watch list for today because it looked really impulsive. I was looking for short-term buy trades. It actually broke into all-time highs, and then it sold off massively. So today it's down like 5%, massive sell-off. I don't know why. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know why it's selling off so much. Usually Bitcoin follows the Nasdaq. So if the Nasdaq is selling off, Bitcoin could be selling off as well. This time, Bitcoin is just selling off on its own. So my buy trade, my buy idea has been scratched. No longer considering buy setups. What I would need to see if I'm going to be looking for buy setups is I would like to see a breakout to the upside and then to get in on a flag. Then I would like to get in on a flag right there. So I need to see some higher levels here on the top. Okay. Okay, Red Rose says, tough day for BTC today. Yeah, absolutely. Big sell-off. Ethereum, not so much. I mean, Ethereum could easily sell off 20%, easily go to this level of support. So Ethereum, very, very tough. For short-term trading, my focus is on Bitcoin. So I'm looking only for buy setups, of course. I don't want to sell this at all. This is a massive uptrend on the daily chart, so I don't want to sell. But short-term buy setups, good. Ethereum, I don't know what to do. Ethereum does not respond to fundamentals. It went up 200%. What was the reason? No one knows. Well, someone knows, but most people don't know. So if I'm going to trade Ethereum, I'm going to have a bit of a better trading edge, some access to fundamentals, which I don't have. That's why I focus on Bitcoin for short-term trading. Okay. James says, yeah, it was a bit confusing. He's been mentoring since around 2017 as a manual swing trader and had a MyFX book in the past. He likes things like COT data as well. Thanks for checking it out. It helps a lot. No worries, James. I'm just worried about the performance. You know, it looks too good to be true. And when something looks too good to be true, especially in trading, it probably is. So I do believe in the performance. I do believe in what I'm seeing here, that it did make these crazy returns of 150% per year, right? I'm just worried that it's gonna stop. Okay, so I'm worried that in a few months, market conditions switch, something in the parameters changes, and then you have to change something with the EA. Is the guy that created it good enough to notice when a change is warranted? Maybe, okay, maybe, but maybe not. And you have to note that even the best traders in the world, they have losing months, losing years, a lot of them actually. So if you look at the top guy on DarwinX, he had, I think, 2 losing years in the last 10 years. Part of the game, absolutely part of the game. So that's been my thinking. I've been burned in the past with scams, crypto scams, fake traders, forex gurus. That's why I say, if it looks too good to be true, with very little drawdowns and very few losing months and 150% returns per year, if it looks too good to be true, it's probably fake. Same with guerrilla trading. You had the main guy that was not taking any trades, which is by now pretty much confirmed. So he was an absolutely fake trader. And he made 150 to 200% per year, allegedly, which of course he did not, because he was not trading. But the actual strategy, people actually made money with the strategy, which was pretty funny. Okay, Red Rose says PPI rugged it. I don't think so. I don't think so, because you would have a massive reaction on the Nasdaq and the S&P if PPI had a huge impact. You know, you would have a massive sell-off. Again, the thinking behind it is inflation is going higher. The Fed wants to cut rates, but they're looking at inflation. inflation is sticky, so maybe they won't cut rates. And of course, cutting rates benefits the economy, more loans, cheaper money, companies take huge loans, companies go in debt, and market valuations go up. So the stock market loves rate cuts. Bitcoin had a massive reaction. I just think it popped into the all-time highs, you know. So now the all-time high is 124.5 thousand. 124.5. So it popped into all-time highs, rejected, and sold off heavily. I think that's exactly what happened when we touched... Let's see. Yeah, so when we touched this mark around 70k sell-off, 100k going into 100k, went in, massive sell-off. Usually happens at those critical levels. Okay, Ender says, I'm fine. Thank you, Marco. Hope you're fine and everything is okay. I'm doing great. Going on a trip tomorrow, getting out of this hot city. So pretty happy about that. Okay, James says, yeah, I was thinking the same. Very true. Yeah, so my spidey sense or my sixth sense or my red flags are popping off all over the place. That's just my 2 cents. If you have a different opinion, or if someone else has a different opinion, definitely put it in the comments and we can talk about it. Red Rose says crypto is more sensitive to interest rates. Stocks have other fundamentals. That could be true. That could definitely be true. Red Rose, it did start selling off before the PPI release, though, so maybe just an all-time high pullback, as you say. I think if you did get a massive reaction for PPI today, you would get it on the stock market as well, not just on Bitcoin. So if you look at the PPI, this was the candle, and you already had half of the sell-off happen, as you mentioned. You know, pop into it, minus 2.7%, and then we continue. So I think it was a reaction to the all-time high level. I think that was the case. Looks like we are approaching the end of the stream. So I'm gonna go on for 2 to 3 more minutes, but if you guys have any last minute chart requests, questions, anything like that, make sure you put it in the chat. If you wanna take a look at the software that I'm using for fundamentals, it is the Edge Finder, and I do have a discount code which is MARKO. Okay, if you want to join our free Discord, get my daily forecasts for free. For absolutely free, you can get my daily forecasts where I mention all of the trades I'm in, all of the trades I'm looking to take, all of the trades I've taken, analysis, fundamentals, entry level, stop loss. You can join the free Discord right here. I'm going to put the link in the description. Okay. Put the link in the description. Okay. Okay, James says, I forgot to say the EAs were backtested over 10 years of data with a few thousand trades before the MyFX book live trading as well. I don't know if that makes a difference or not. Ooh, well, depending on how the backtesting was done. Again, I've been burned so many times, so I'm really skeptical. I've been burned so many times. I've read so many books. I've read experiences from so many traders. I've read market wizards. I know what it takes to reach that sort of a performance level. And I don't think that if someone was at the level, at that performance level, that they would be selling their whole edge on the internet, right? That's why I mentioned Jim Simmons. That's why I mentioned that no one knew what the hell he was doing. He definitely didn't go online and advertise his edge and advertise his system, because if everyone would started using it, the edge is gone. So that's why I'm so skeptical about it. Even if you say it was backtested on over 10 years of data, if he's selling it online, I'm just skeptical. So maybe I'm just being paranoid. but experience has taught me in the trading space, in the trading market, there's so many salespeople. It's like 98% salespeople and 1 to 2% real traders. Again, there's like a mix of traders who sell a course. I'm one of those, but I'm trying to get you guys something that really works, and I'm not trying to blow sunshine up your ass and say that you're gonna make 100% per year. I'm trying to give you the reality of trading. And then there is that one small percent of traders who make extreme percentages, but they don't share anything online because they're making so much money. They have such a good trading edge that they don't want to share that with anyone. And unfortunately, I'm not in that camp. Those guys are like Jim Simmons, and those guys are the real beasts of trading. They can maybe make 50 to 60 to 70% every year on average. Okay, yeah, no worries, James. Hopefully that was helpful. A little bit of a rant about the gurus and the scammers. So, what did I want to go through? Yeah, gold. I usually do gold. I know a lot of you like to see gold, so let me give you my analysis. I am looking for buy setups on gold. Yeah, no worries, James. No worries. If you have any more questions, you have my Discord. Just send me a message. I'm online pretty much every single day. I'm looking for a breakout here on gold. So I'm looking for a break higher out of these levels. But I first want to see again a break of this resistance level. As far as fundamentals go, Edge Finder, whoop, wrong window. Let me just see if, okay, not this Edge Finder, gold. I think we have a bullish reading, very bullish actually. Okay, very bullish reading on gold. So fundamentals are good. Also, you have some crazy tariffs from Trump. You know, Trump is active again with the crazy tariffs. China, Russia, Switzerland, even maybe Canada, I think. I think Canada is on the list. So that creates uncertainty. Gold loves uncertainty. That's another bullish case for gold. But until I get a breakout, I won't do anything. So I cannot do much. The worst thing that can happen to me is that I keep taking buy setups inside of this chop and I get just taken out of my positions. So I get taken out, then I take another one, you know, it goes up a little bit, goes back down, stops me out, and we can go on and on for a year. So you can just get chopped around in this range. That's why I think it's really dangerous to be taking buy setups right here. That's why I'm patient, personally. But it's on the watch list, see? This is my watch list right here. Fundamental strategy, watch list. This is for the technical strategy, the watch list right there. Silver is the last thing I'm gonna do. So any last minute chart requests, put them in the chat, but silver is pretty much gonna be the last thing I'm gonna cover. Silver did have a really nice buy setup on silver. Nice buy trade. I'm not looking to enter right now. Edge Finder, I do believe it's bullish. Same reasons why I'm bullish on gold. I'm bullish on silver as well. I would just like to see possibly more bullish momentum. A nice breakout to the upside and then a nice buy position. So that's my game plan for silver, looking for some more bullish momentum. I am pretty interested to get in on buy setups. So that would be about it, but gold is better, okay? In my opinion, gold, if it does break out, I think gold is better. As far as streams go, if you want to catch me again, I usually stream every Thursday around 4 p.m. London time. Maybe 4, maybe 4:30. If you want to get updates of when I will be live streaming, you can find me on Instagram at Marcos Trading Journey. So that's my Instagram handle, and I post all of the updates of my streaming schedule on my Instagram story. So make sure to give me a follow. Thank you guys very much for watching. Good luck in the markets. Next week, in terms of news, that could be the last thing we look at. So let's see. Next week, in the news, USD, unemployment claims, manufacturing PMIs. Okay, nothing that important except NZD central bank. So if you're trading the New Zealand dollar, this is pretty important for you. Other than that, as far as the USD goes, I'm waiting for NFP, okay, which should be, here. So I'm waiting for the 5th of September NFP. That's the upcoming biggest event that's gonna happen, okay. That's it. Thank you guys very much. See you in the